Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you all for being part of it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider it and check the playlist for all the DIY videos and self-interviews by members now. That's been a lot of fun. Today, we're going to go ahead and do a speedometer cleaning and restore if needed. But I'm going to show you how to take it apart, go over it, things you can do to restore it, or if you're having problems with yours. So let's get on it. And a quick other thing, you weren't getting off that easy. VW sent me a new drill press I did a video on, but I didn't get to edit it and put it up yet. I think you'll like it. These are really cheap. I'm really excited with this. Fully adjustable and it works good. So I'll show you that in an upcoming video. It won't be a DIY day. I'll throw it up as an extra. So, okay, I know. All right, so you see the two different ones here. They're older. You're probably used to this style too. But this is what I have on hand. Now, this came out of my 68, and no, the tape is on there just to hold everything together temporarily because I had it apart. This is the 68 and up. It has the fuel gauge on it. I'll be redoing that very soon. If you want to see a second one, I would doubt it, but I got to take the fuel gauge out of that, and I'm waiting on a few things for it. So if you want to see that one too, let me know. Here is the one I'm doing today without the fuel gauge because I do need to restore this. I had a few people interested in it, so I'm going to take it all apart and clean it first. That's to the other one. And do it up. I got quite a few of these. So I'm going to go ahead today and let's get on it. All right, so first things first, let me take this tape off because I'm sure you're wondering, why is this tape on there? I didn't want to lose the screws that it was mounted with. So I try to keep track of that stuff. You should too. It's good so you don't have them all over the place. Just a little bit of masking tape on a lot of parts that you pull off. And that way you don't lose this stuff. And then you can clean it up real nice too. These obviously were the screws that held it into place in the back of the dash. So I'll show you like a 30-second video here and speed it up of removing the speedometer out of the dash on a 68. They're pretty much all the same that way until you get to the 73 and up. So here's a quick little, last episode type of deal. Disconnect the speedometer cable.
Just unscrews and pull it out of the way.
A little. I'm going to take these Phillips screws off on each side like you see in the picture here. It's hard not to block the camera. Take this one out. Okay, so I was pulling on this, and I guess it's been in there so long that the glass stayed in there. Speedometer looks beautiful. And that shows you how it came out. Okay, so what we're going to do first is flip it over. Now you can see how crummy. We want to make this look new. We really do. So what we're going to do is we're going to get something thin. We're going to go in between the mounting tab and the bezel. So let me get something, see if this has a bigger gap. I think it's about the same as the other side. Okay, now don't be a cowboy with this and start acting crazy. Just take your time. You're going to pry gently. You don't want to break the glass or bend the bezel all up. This has been on there since 67, so it's going to fight me a little bit. Let me get this in here. Let me get something a little thinner. We're having fun, so I just paused until they were done being kids. I'm going to have to open this a little bit more here. The reason I'm not speeding this part up is because I don't want you to think it should have come apart quicker, because sometimes they can be buggers. And I don't want you saying, well, Slade got his apart in 5 seconds. I don't edit out when it takes a while or if something breaks. I don't like doing that. Excuse me. Come on. Woo. Okay, just a little dust. I thought it was glass. Come on. This has been on. This has been on forever, so I'm going to loosen more of it up. And then I can always tap it back into place to tighten it. But I'm wondering, whoop, you all right? Thought I hit you in the head there. Okay, that's loose. There we go. Might have been sticking there too, because I could see a little rust. We're going to make this look new when it's done. Okay. Remember, take your time. I know I repeat myself. I know you get tired of hearing my voice, even though I sound like Mr. Rogers. There we go. Should have probably did that in the first place. Let's check the other side. They're kind of press fit on. You can see it separating. Come on, get in there. Okay, now here's where you got to watch your glass. Oops, see? Right there, I bent it. Now I'll tap that straight once I have it off. But this one is really, really on there. And you're going to run into it too. Well, some of you. I know. Speed it up, speed it up. I don't want to speed the film up here. I want you to see what it's like to struggle with it so that you know. Okay, let me try this a minute here. I'm trying to work around the camera, which sometimes isn't easy, but I wanted it to be in your point of view. Okay. See, when you move slowly, and that's what I did. I did not rush. There we go. Now, how great was that? Completely awesome, huh? All right, so first, oh, that looks pretty nice. Can need a little touch up, no big deal. Okay, there's your glass. All right. Now, this bezel here, if you can get in there and clean without removing it, I would highly advise it, unless you need to for some reason, because that bezel has inside of there new rubbers. I believe Wolfsburg West might sell them, okay? But if you do want to get in there, and here's this inner bezel, it's black inside. Do you see that? Okay. If you need to get this apart, which I don't advise it, but if you need to, this will pull off, okay? And then you can paint the bezel in there. But we're going to see without doing it how clean we can get everything. And at the same time, I'll straighten a lot of this metal back up and polish it like new. But I'll show you something. Watch this. Here's my 68 one that I had taken apart. See the rubber there? Here, I'll untape this for you. Not a big deal, no, as a Borat would say. Give me a minute, I know. Let me know if you like this view on filming with keeping my big head out of it. I'm trying to keep, I'm not a professional, so I try to keep improving my filming skills. Okay, well that's, okay, here's, that's stuck to the tape. Okay, here's from my 68, it's the same one. But what I'm trying to show you here basically is, because I can't find the one rubber, I got to order some new ones from Wolfsburg West, but there's a rubber inside of here, okay? And you also have the, like a paper gasket around the outside. So I had to edit the film and step back and look at this because I didn't order my stuff yet, but this would need to come out, the glass would go in, and then of course your bezel. So you don't want to take that apart if you don't have to. I'm going to order new gaskets and rubbers for it because I believe Wolfsburg West still sells that stuff. So what we're going to do on this one here is leave this together and I'll clean the glass really well and clean the chrome up. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. When I do clean it up, if I can see the black bezel in there is really crummy, then we'll take it apart. But I'm not going to disturb it if I don't have to. So we'll set this aside for right now. Okay, let me move this out of the way, so nobody's trying to look at 50 different things. Alrighty. So what we have here is a high beam indicator. Now you can see if you look close that the gels are all cracked and everything for the turn signal, the oil light, and the generator or alternator warning light. So we'll go over that and how you can fix it cheaply. So you can see that the needle on it's kind of yellowed, you know, so we're going to go ahead and touch that up too. The numbers look a little yellow. We're going to check them from behind. But let's go ahead now, and you see how crummy. This is all going to look new when it's done. So, all right, let me, oh, I need something to set this on so that I don't want the needle to hit. There we go. All righty. Let me get a little wire brush. You can get them at the dollar store. I just try to clean the screws up a little bit. Remember, the needle's not touching the workbench. Okay. I'm just going to take a little dab of PB. Just a little wee bit. I don't want it running everywhere. And we're going to get our screwdriver. Remember, you don't want the needle breaking, so keep something under there. We're going to take these off. Now remember, oh my, okay, bigger screwdriver. They've been on there a long time. There's one. And there's two. I don't know why. I left that wire on there. Okay. Now don't lose these screws. I know you can go to Ace Hardware or wherever and get them, but why get sloppy? A second here. I'll get out of your way. Just loosening a screw. Alrighty. So let's turn this back over. Remember, don't lay it flat or have something hit that needle. We're going to try to get this out of here. So those two screws should have loosened that up. I'll give it a tap here. It should be starting to come out. Yes, it is. Let's give it a few more taps. It's getting there. Just take your time. Remember, it's been in there a long time. Yeah, it's dragging right here at the bottom. So let me use a plastic pry tool without actually prying. I just want to loosen it. Okay, let me try something else. Let me take a look here. Let's take these out. It shouldn't matter, in all honesty. I want to clean some debris around them. There we go. And I don't think this screwdriver is big enough to... Oh, yeah, it was. I know, I'm in your way. Give me 1 second. Come on, get on there. Wow. Oh, poo-poo. Wow. They are on there. There we go. Okay. You take... I know I'm in your way for some of this. It's impossible not to be. I want to see what's holding this, and maybe I can tell by removing this out of the way. Hold on, I'll be out of your way in a second. Okay, and that's what lights up your warning lights and everything, turn signals. So we're going to clean that up, check for cracks on this. It's all corroded, but not a big deal. We can get everything apart and clean it up. But okay, getting ahead of myself. That goes to the indicator. Finally. Wow. I've never had one that difficult to come out of its housing. I really haven't. There's the high beam. That is really crazy. Really, really crazy. And this goes on there like that. Well, that was exciting, was it not? Okay, now let's reverse things a hair. If you remember, I had taken these screws out and I removed this. When you do, you already have this opened up. This little rubber bezel comes off and then this slides out. Okay. Now, there's little gels in here, or whatever you want to call them. You can get this stuff in like the craft department at a craft store and get your green, your red, your amber. Obviously, your green is going to be your turn signals. And this is almost supposed to be like a yellow, and the other one is red, obviously. So you can get these at the craft store or whatever. So that's not a real big deal. And then you'll take them out and glue them in. And basically, once you push this back through here, oops, wrong way, and screw it on, this little rubber cover slides on here, is what it does. And of course, when you put this back in, it'll be where it's supposed to be. So, not a big deal there. I'm going to set this aside. I see the rubber has little cracks on it right here, but that's not real big. When I go to put the gels in, the new ones, I'll go ahead and glue this. And then it'll slide right back on there. So that's not a big deal. So now we have the speedometer. The face on this is actually in really nice condition. Usually they're discolored or there's some patina on them. And you can, they can be sent out and fixed up. What I might do is take like an index card and put it behind here, because I'm not going to pull that needle off, and retouch this up with some white or even some red. But I'll go ahead and do that. And the numbers, as you can see, are a little discolored, but I don't believe it's really a big deal though. So when you go back here, this all needs cleaned up, okay? But here's your digits here. Some people choose to take this all apart and, turn them back to 0 if they're doing a restoration. I really don't advise that unless you're doing a full-blown restoration and you're starting out at 0. Don't try to mislead people with mileage. It's not fair, okay? But you can actually take your time and clean these numbers all up if you feel the need to do that, okay? What you can do is take a soft brush, though, and you can clean the plastic on these gears. That one, I believe, is brass. Okay, and down here, you can clean these up real good and put some fresh grease on them. Now, if you do have an old speedometer cable, unfortunately, I don't have one on hand here, and I don't want to cut mine to prove a point. You can go ahead. This one needs cleaned out, actually. And let me see here. Yeah, there's caca in there. You can go ahead and clean this out and put your speedometer cable in there and turn it with a drill to make sure everything is moving nice and smooth. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let me see. I always use strange things to hold things in position. Going to take a little brush. Give me 1 second, I forgot something. I'm going to use some electric cleaner because I don't want to damage anything. I'm going to get the old grease off of there. Okay, you could see it's all crumbly. So I want to get that off of there. I don't see no need in taking, wait a second, I put the lid on like an idiot. I don't see no need in taking the rest of this apart because everything is pretty nice inside with the gears. So I want to clean that up just with a soft brush. Don't use any type of wire brush, for goodness sakes, but I think you know that. Wished I had an extra speedometer cable here, because I would have turned this. That's what I would have did. Okay, let me blow this out with a little bit of air in a second here. I'm just trying to clean the old crap out. There we go. I got what I wanted to get there. Now you can take, well here, let me blow it out, be right back. Now when you hit it with air, whatever you do not go blowing 100 pounds of air at it. Turn your compressor down and blow it very gently. Now these are all cleaned out pretty well, and I'll end up putting some new grease on those. As I said, if you want to, you can take this all apart, clean all the numbers. I don't really see a reason to do it on this one. It's really not that bad. A very mild patina. So wanted to know if I had a I need an extra speedometer cable here, because I could have spun this around, to let the grease get around the gears, but I don't believe I do, so it's not a big deal. I'll lather the grease throughout here with a little brush, and as soon as it starts to spin, it'll end up greasing it all. So what I'm going to have to do is run to a craft store and go ahead and get the gels for this. So I'm going to move that right there for now, because I'm not going to grease it right this moment. Now we're going to go to the housing, because when you open your trunk, that is what you're going to see. All right. Now I want to go ahead and get these bulbs out of here. Now's the time, if you want, to switch to LED bulbs. Okay. Sometimes these can be stubborn. So, well, of course mine will be, because I'm on film. Everything has to be stubborn, That's just the nature of the beast. Let me see if I can, because we're going to make this all pretty before it's done. That one's in there. Let me see if I can spread it a little bit. There we go. Okay, I know what to get. Let me try to be gentle. There, see how it's turning? That's the light for the speedometer. So what we're going to do is clean that all up real nice. And here is the other one. That is for your high beam. That's where the tube goes on to. So this one's a pain in the butt. It's amazing. You don't realize when something's been in there 50 years, it don't want to cooperate very well, which is fine. I'm 59 years old, so I don't cooperate very well anymore. Okay. Whoop. Sorry about that. Okay, now let me see if I can grab it this way. Yeah, I can. And just turn it gently. Remember, you're moving very slow when you do this. I don't like how that bulb looks in there. So we're going to end up taking that apart and cleaning it. Okay. Now, what we have here is a hollow shell. And you know what we're going to do. We're going to wire wheel this all up. We're going to hang it from a piece coat hanger in the garage here, and we're going to spray it. And it'll take 24 hours to dry to touch. But of course, with the editing of film, you'll see it in a few seconds. So let's get this cleaned up first. I'm not going to mess with this right now. And I got to run to the craft store real quick because I want to get new gels for this, because I'm probably going to sell this one. I don't need this speedometer. So we want to make it nice and sexy. Then we're going to clean the chrome up on this. So, okay, be right back. Okay, I didn't think you felt like watching me wire wheel. So I cleaned this all up. I just got to do right here. So what I did is I got my drill with a thin wire wheel, and I ran it down in between here to clean it up. So what I'm going to do now is wipe it down with some thinner, hang it up, and I'll spray that. Okay, I only have black, a semi-gloss, and it don't matter because it's facing the trunk, but try to get silver when you're doing these. But I'm painting mine black because I don't care. But make sure you wear a mask, but a good one. This is just a dust mask. And yes, this is a heat gun. The metal's cool, so I'm going to heat it up. I like warming the metal a little bit. It can't hurt because the metal is a little bit cold. So I'm going to warm it up. Don't go burning your stupid hands. You should actually put your paint inside of, sink it down a little bit in the little thing of warm water to atomize the paint. There, metal's warming up now. And that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be a little warm when the paint hit it. There we go. I like just doing a tack coat first. Just a tack coat. Let that sit for a second. Okay, I'm going to hit it with the heat gun again. You don't have to do this. I am not a body man, but this is what I've always done with small parts. I heat them up while the tack coat's on there. And before you leave something ignorant in the comments, I've always done this and I've never had an issue. Quit swinging. I don't care if there's, like, you know, a little bit of fisheye or anything weird, because I'm not doing a white glove restoration on this. I'm just making it clean. Clean and neat. I should have had the garage door closed and had the heat on, but I didn't. It's 56 in here. And as you can see, it's not some base coat, clear coat job, but it's good enough to go behind the dashboard in the trunk. So we're going to let that dry and go back to the rest. I took these little pieces out of here. I'm going to take them with me to the craft store. The red one's fine, but I'm going to replace it anyhow. But I'm going to grab Heather, go to the craft store, because she knows better what we're looking for. When you see little cracks like that, it ain't a big deal. Get some E6000 or super glue, because there's no stress on this stuff, and just glue it back together. It's just rubber. It'll be fine. There's no stress. It just goes over top of this. What we're going to do is pull these out of here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little brush. You know what? I'm going to use the little wire brush to clean the crap off around it. We'll clean this up once we get these out of here. Okay. Wow, that just come from somewhere. Okay. Now, when you do this, I'll bring it in close. Just grab to this outer ring slightly. Don't break the plastic, okay? You're just grabbing right there and giving it a little twist. See how that turns? Twist it a couple times and then gently pull. There's one. Little twist. And there's the other one. Okay. And then what we can do here is take some sandpaper or your favorite cleaner or what have you. I'm going to use, I like this stuff. And we're going to clean this section up here. Make sure you wear gloves. Don't be like me when you're doing this stuff. A little bit of steel wool. I need a brush that reaches down inside, and I don't have one. So what I am going to do, let me try something here. So I didn't want to bore you, but went ahead and got them cleaned up. You want all these connections really clean, okay? And I cleaned up the housing. Nobody's going to ever see it again anyhow, but clean down inside. And if these tabs here become where they're too flattened, you can take a screwdriver in from the other side or a pick tool and bend them back out this way so that the light bulb is tighter when it goes in. So not a big deal. Clean them up good and take your housings, wire wheel, clean them up good, put new bulbs in if need be. This would be the time to switch to LED if you're going to. So we got these all cleaned up. And like I said, you can go ahead. I'm not going to mess around online for a new one. A little bit of dab of glue. There's no force on these. We'll hold these together. We'll go ahead and run to the craft store and get new plastic or gel, whatever you want to call them. They'll come in a big sheet, and you'll have to cut and fit them back inside of there. We want this to be nice when it's done. Okay, this is all dry. Let's take that down. See how much better that looks? Now I heated it up. Metal's cold again already, but I heated it up and it dried real nice. So that'll look good too. All right, so that was part one. I didn't plan on putting this into two parts, but I do got to run to the store, grab a couple things for the speedometer housing. I want to get a special grease that I'm trying to find, and then we'll go ahead and do part two, putting it all together. But I'm not going to wait till next Tuesday to do that. I'll probably put it up in a couple of days. So part one and part two are going to be in the same week, which, hey, sorry about that. That's the way it goes sometimes. But I hope everybody's had an amazing past weekend, and I hope the rest of your week goes good. I'll see you in a couple days with part two.